father, right? Yes, that was his name. Her mother had forbidden it to be spoken aloud, but Abigail recalled his crisp, dispassionate signature on the checks he sent after he left. That had been their only connection with him in 20 years. The money had been necessary for their survival, especially in those early years after they left Taiwan for America, as they struggled to establish a foothold in a new country. But money was no substitute for a parent, especially not one who had been so attached to his daughter. Or so it had seemed to her at the time. Abigail had long since revised her opinion of her father's apparent devotion to her. A man doesn't abandon his family when he loves them. "I can't help you. Sorry." A wrinkle of uncertainty creased the space between the young man's eyebrows. It satisfied her to think that he was confused by her lack of concern, but she was hardly going to talk to some handsome stranger on the street about a personal matter. And even then, she was more likely to chat with a squirrel about nuts than any human about her father. He lifted his palms vertically in a plea for time. "No, I'm the one who should be apologizing. I know you haven't seen your dad in a long time, and you're not likely to want to talk about him, but he's recently gone missing, and I think he may try to contact you." "Has he called?" "Recently gone missing?" Abigail nearly choked on her laugh, but it wasn't funny. To say that her father was recently missing was an insult to everything she'd been through. She cleared her throat and stared hard at the man in the government suit. A tiny American flag graced his left lapel. Naturally. "Mr. Riley, my father has been missing from my life for some time. You'll excuse me if I don't feel much concern for his whereabouts now." "I understand your reluctance to assist us. I'm aware of your long-standing estrangement from him, but he hasn't been missing all this time. He's continued to work for the State Department. We only lost track of him in Arles 4 days ago." She clenched the muscles in her jaw to keep it from gaping open. Every phrase he'd said inspired a question, but only one presented itself in the voice of a child. "Do you know why my father left me?" Her throat constricted. Damn it all. She'd tried so hard to stop thinking about her father, but as tough as she'd become, she would always be the little girl who still worried that her daddy had gone away because she'd been bad. No. She exhaled firmly. She was no longer interested in where he was or why he'd left. She refused to be. "I'd like to help, but I know nothing about him," she said, and glanced again at her watch. 2 good minutes gone forever to this pointless conversation about a man so disconnected from her that he might as well be dead. "Good luck with your manhunt. If you don't mind, I have a train to catch." She straightened her shoulders and walked forward, headed down the steps of her porch, intending to march straight through him if he didn't move out of her way. But as she reached the first step and came almost nose to nose with the man standing on the one below, the smell of lemons and something darker and muskier tugged at her senses. She breathed in, distracted by the unusual, yet familiar perfume. How odd. How lovely. This government man with the crooked nose smelled like a perfect cup of hot black tea. Her eyes flew to his, which in the warm luminescence of dawn had become the bright yellow-green of Spanish olives. He smiled that crooked little grin he'd given her when she'd first noticed him. She wouldn't be charmed by him, even if he did smell like her favorite beverage. Had he known? Or did he always spritz Lipton and lemon on himself in the morning? It didn't matter. She didn't care, and she had to go. Making the train was now in doubt, but Abigail Mason had no room in her world for doubt. She looked pointedly to the street. "Excuse me." "Sorry." He stepped out of her way, sweeping his hand toward the road as if he'd been escorting her instead.